Hi everyone, I'm Mariz Escaño, and we are the reporter in Scrum Agile methodology. And our agenda for today is a sample case study that indicate the process or uses of Agile, and that is the Apple Corporation. Agile techniques within Apple. This giant uses Scrum Agile without even talking about it. In order to find out why, we will realize the Agile features in the management of this company. The first thing that is worth mentioning is the product owner. It was definitely Steve Jobs who proceeded as a product owner at first. He did everything that was needed, projected, and looked for something that would please the client. Now, all of those duties are shared by several people, but the company's philosophy targeting end users hasn't changed since then. Another secret of success, responsibility. This is not just a word. All of the points are written according to the DRI concept, directly responsible individual. This way, everything from the difficult cross-functional engineering tasks to the property rights questions is clear to everybody. So, moving on to the next point. This is a small team siya. And all the big teams can be divided into the smaller ones. The optimum number of the team's members according to the Scrum is 2 to 12 people. And for example of this is the 2 engineers wrote the code for the Safari browser conversions for the iPad. So one more features of this cycle operation is pag nag-draw tayo ng parallel with the sprints, and every company and meron siyang rhythm, meron silang kanya-kanyang rhythm. So, yung Apple product development, nagko-consist siya ng projecting, creating, test, and also testing. Tapos yung product manager nito, nagbibigay siya ng beta versions dun sa product from the China to Cupertino for the testing. And if something goes wrong, the whole process repeats all over again. Mauulit at mauulit yun hanggang sa maging okay na siya. Next.
The consequences of sprint underestimation. It is impossible to plan the final product release date. The customer is upset. The team is dissatisfied its efficiency, and team spirit drops and everyone is sad. We have failed the sprint again. Conflicts within the team may arise, with people saying I managed to do my task, but we failed because of him, her. Everyone gets stressed and fatigued.
So dito sa term ng commitment in the Scrum methodology, nag-i-indicate dito yung amount of work ng team na nag-undertake on the perform within the given sprint. So for example of this is yung sa project manager, yung work ng project manager. Sobrang importante yun not to overdo the punishment for the an error, kasi merong responsibility na malaki kapag may mga errors na nako-commit. So after all, who would want to take the responsibility for something they are not always able to control and or have the influence on, diba? Yung punishments for mistakes are powerful on the anti-stimulus, which can discourage a team from taking the responsibility and showing the initiative. Next.
Successfully completed sprints, an improved microclimate, an increase in productivity with time. You should see to your team does not relax too much. Satisfied customers. If you do things right, everyone will later learn to accurately predict their strengths and capabilities.
So on the Apple Corporation naman po, meron kasi siyang web development. And meron siyang mga factors na nag-disrupt in the even short time plans of this Scrum team rather. So yung couple of weeks na yon is pwede siyang maging a long terms para sa pag-estimate ng mga ina-accurate nilang mga goals or plans. It is better to overestimate a task than to underestimate it. So at least in this case, meron magiging successfully completed sprints and improved microclimate, an increase in productivity with time. You should see to it your team does not relax too much. Satisfied customers, and if you do things right, everyone will later learn to accurately predict their strengths and capabilities. Next.
Development, communication with the team, communication with the dev lead, deployment to staging, testing on staging, fixing and stabilization, deployment on live, retesting on live, and refixing and restabilization.
In this naman, meron tayong pina-follow ng mga rules na mapag-aaralan natin to make a realistic estimation. So, for example, dito is kung gagawa tayo ng project or meron tayong project, yung problem na yun, yung problem of task na underestimate natin is pag pina-follow natin yung mga plans and regulations nila is nasosolve siya ng mas madali. So the project was large and the time for completing a task grew with time. In addition to writing the code itself, the total estimate consisted of the following. So yan na yun, yung development, the communication with the team, and etc. Next.
Next is how to organize an agile retrospective meeting. So number one is we have the use of visualization. To describe the problem and improve the discussion process, visualize it. Even when the team is aware of the problem, before the meeting starts, illustrate it once again. Use screens, wallboards, colored stickers, markers, paper notes, and etc. There are many possibilities. Select the option that occur that your team will appreciate most in a given situation.
So, dito naman po, meron sa summary natin yung details of yung project na to, that's the Apple. This can be a graph, sa diagram, and also custom reports or agile metrics. For example, lang dito yung tinatawag natin na breakdown charts. Yung pinapakita niya ng sobrang linaw kung meron bang mga lagging in time, deviations for the plan, or etc. At pinapadali niya yung paghahanap ng reason para mas slow down yung process ng project. Next.
Number two is start, stop, and continue. Another and probably the simplest option is start, stop, continue. Each team member expresses an opinion about what should be started, what should be stopped, what should be continued. At the end, everyone votes and then there is a wrap-up. This is a quick version of the opinion poll, which will let everyone speak up so no one is overlooked.
So dito naman, example na lang natin dito yung product owner. Yung product owner may need a Gantt chart para sa visual graphical presentations ng work niya para may magandang ipapakita yung company nila. So itong company na to is WordPress development company na ginagamitan niya ng word down charts at nagpapakita ng real picture na minomonitor nila whether we are finishing everything in time before the end of the sprint. Moreover, such as visual aids can be useful to the customers after all. Next.
Number three is the lead. Each retrospective should have a lead. We recommend that the project manager isn't always the lead. For example, you can pass the baton and change the lead every time. In this case, it is important for everyone to remember the retrospective's goals and take a turn to navigate the ship. After all, the main thing is to get the feedback and improve the process on the basis of the gathered information.
So dito naman, itong company kasi nito, meron siyang several different agile coaches na ginagamitan ng Scrum tool. So for example, dito yung Philips Lighting, yung bumilya, na the best results were achieved after dividing the teams into smaller ones, which is also a framework feature. Di ba? Sabi nga natin, yung Agile is a framework design. As a result, it was easier for the smaller groups to take responsibility for the product. So another company that is worth mentioning is itong Philips. Super similar siya on the iPhone. So it started using Agile after the various changes in the firm of the management. So etong Agile Center of Excellence Director na pinamunuhan ni Edgar Van Zolen, na sabi niya it's yung method na to super nakakatulong at nakakapagbigay ng accuracy to move beyond the bureaucracy of the company. Next.
So next is the ways to fail with Agile. First is the lack of communication or trust. As with any project, clear communication is vital. The same is true for Agile. There are often large teams within large enterprises. This means it can be difficult for leaders to communicate with all parties. Additionally, some parties might have a hard time participating with and communicating with others. That makes contributing difficult, which can lead to a breakdown in Agile. There must be excellent communication as well as trust, which is often easier said than done in large enterprise. Next is the poor leadership. When it comes to agile project management, your leader is vital. But in some cases, instead of serving the team, some leaders try to dictate everything team members do. And this micromanaging leads to distress and lack of success. Team members can't achieve their goals with this kind of leadership. On the flip side, leaders can't be aloof either. They need to be fully engaged and part of the team. Next is the overly complex requirements. Many projects are very complex. That complexity can directly affect its success or failure. With Agile, the key is breaking down a complex project into smaller projects and then adapting them over time. Large enterprises with large teams often have a difficult time doing this, which leads to Agile failure. Next is the trying to hold on to tradition. No one likes to change. It's very hard to give up our comfort zones. One of the biggest causes of agile failure is trying to hold on to traditional ways of doing things. When you shift to agile, you have to commit to it. You can try to hold on to the old way of doing things, trying to pick and choose certain legacy processes or tools and fitting them into agile processes won't work. Last is the inexperience with agile. Perhaps the biggest reason enterprises and large companies fail with agile is a simple lack of experience. In fact, according to a study from version 1, the number of reasons agile projects fail is because of inexperience with implementing and integrating the agile methodology. Implementing agile can't be done on a whim. It takes experience and understanding. Many large enterprises don't have people experience with agile.
Other reasons why Agile fail. Principle brings no joy to the working process. The purpose of Agile is to give developers freedom without any pressure. Of course, this approach works when there are responsible and disciplined programmers in a team. Those who remembers about the finals retrospective testing and other obligate up meetings only for reporting and Kentron is the main Scrum subject, but its total is cooperation. Dito, ang mga members ng team ng isang business ay dapat may total control para mas madaling matapos ang mga gagawin. And to achieve that, kailangan ng good cooperation. Without total control, hindi gagana ang objectives ng company. Next, for teamwork, there is no cooperation and teamwork. Here's an example. An advanced and experienced developer works on for frivolous development methods. He hard codes and doesn't like communicating. Understand his genius hard coding anyway. This person comes to his workplace when he wants, as he does wants to meet anybody. He knows how to naman. Dapat ay may teamwork. Hindi pwede yung isa lang gagawa. Dabbers upang maintindihan ng lahat ang gagawin. At dapat lahat ng nasa company ay may initiative na sundin lahat ng rules and plans para maganda ang teamwork. Thank you.